Hey, welcome to this week's Horror Debate. I am Jeff Rowdy J. Keir, and with me is Michael Mandy.
And this week we're going to be reviewing Monster Dog, starring Alice Cooper.
And was it ever, man?
This movie, Monster Dog, was directed by Claudio Fragasso from 1984.
Nice drill, man. I didn't know you had that in you.
Oh, well.
No, well, I'll tell you the honest truth, man. You know, Alice Cooper, I respect the man. I love all his stuff. I love his music, especially love his live show. This movie, yeah, not so much.
You know, but actually, he had some decent screen presence. His acting was all right, but he definitely improved the look of the film, that's
right.
for sure. This movie would really sucked without him.
Well, what is the premise of this movie, Mike?
Okay, basically the plot of the film is Alice Cooper, whose real name is Vincent Fernier, plays a rock star named Vince, filming a music video, and so he has to return to his hometown of some unnamed place they didn't specify, to a big old house that he grew up in that 20 years ago. The townspeople with pitchforks came and killed his father. They thought he was a werewolf, and now Vince has come home and they think the werewolves are back.
Well, you know, I found it kind of ironic. You know, we turned on the DVD, and the first word that came up on the screen was substance. And I think that's the video company that put this out or something. But, you know, I figured that was some sort of, like, reverse foreshadowing that this movie wasn't going to have any substance. And, you know, the honest truth, it really didn't. But I have to admit, I was entertained for what it was at 85 minutes or whatever.
It was a very low-budget film. And I read somewhere that Alice said he did this on the condition that they promised it would never be seen in America.
Yeah, I wonder why. Alice has got a rep to protect, man. He can't have this stuff being shown.
You know, I bet someone probably walked up to Alice and said, "How would you love to be in a horror movie?" And Alice said, "I'd love to be in a horror movie."
And who wouldn't?
Exactly.
You know, he kind of had the clean cut look going on, kind of like the cover of Lace and Whiskey, if I remember correctly.
This was actually around the Flush the Fashion, 1984. Flush the Fashion came out in 80, and that's when he was doing Dada and Zipper Catches Skin and all those albums that nobody bought.
Yeah. Well, you know, honest truth here is, you know, this movie didn't work. You know, the bottom line is that Alice, I think, was wanting to make a horror movie regardless of what it was at the time.
Regardless of what nationality was making it. It was I don't know, I think it was a Spanish production.
Yeah, I noticed one of the first things I mentioned to you while we were watching the movie is, hey, the voices are off. And
they're dubbed again.
You mentioned that it was overdubbed. And,
but Alice speaks English.
Alice does speak English. Well, his English, sort of, barely. But, you know, Alice, you know, I could see him evolving into something that would actually be, you know, actually a decent actor. Yeah. But, you know, he's got some chops. I will give you that. But this movie was very low budget. You know, probably not worth the 85 minutes you put into it overall, but still, you know, it's interesting to see if you're an Alice fan.
Well, yes, if you're an Alice fan, you got to see it. And another thing, as a horror film, I expected this to be total trash and total garbage, but his presence in it and some of the visuals were kind of neat. You know, the fog machine. They spent a lot of money on dry ice.
Yeah, they sure did.
But some of the scenes were kind of actually a little on the creepy side. Oh, the one really good scene. Jeff, go for it.
What was that? I don't even remember now.
The head.
Oh, the head, the shotgun to the head. Yes, yeah. Okay.
Alice carrying a gun.
You said good scene, and I was like, wait, we're talking about Monster Dog here. There's no good scene in that movie, but
yeah,
yes,
there
was. I actually popped for one scene. Actually got me off the couch. It was a shotgun to blast to the head, where the whole top of the head above the eyebrows was removed. And I said, oh yeah, now it's going to get at least 1 star from me,
Definitely.
Just because of the gore.
It was a good kill scene.
It was a great kill scene. Yeah, I was shocked that it actually made it into this flick. So,
well, very low budget film. All the killer monster dogs are German shepherds with their tails wagging.
Right, and they look so vicious too.
Oh, they were cute.
Like dogs, if you're going to roll around the floor, they just play with you and you know, play dead. But they were supposedly vicious, and you know,
the movie also didn't. A lot of bad filmmakers, if they have a bad film, they like to cover it up with a lot of music, thinking that people will pay attention to the music and not the film. But this used music very sparingly and actually added to the film. It helped create a little bit of the atmosphere.
Right. Well, I noticed the one thing that stood out for me was the females in the movie. I don't think you could sashay in terror any better than what these ladies were sashaying in terror. I mean, they were flipping open their vest to expose themselves while standing next to a post leaning
But
on it.
they
so
were
you could
wearing
see-
very tight sweaters.
very
like-
tight. Yeah, they weren't bare. They weren't
yes,
bare. But
that's one bad thing this movie really needed. This movie needed more skin. It needed any skin.
it needed
really.
any skin,
Any
and not
skin.
Alice's.
No.
And not.
No, and can you imagine if Alice ran through the movie naked? Then it'd really be a horror film.
I'd like to see Alice Sachet, actually.
Oh, he does every night in concert.
This is true. Well, overall, I'd go into technical specs on this movie, but
There were none.
I can't. There really aren't any. I mean, it's a basic 4:3 presentation with muted colors. I do have to say, and I do agree with you, that the scenes with the fog machine, with the lighting behind it, it looked like the beginning of like a concert or something, where the guys will rise up from the bottom of the stage.
Mm-hmm.
You'd have all the fog and the lighting behind it. You just see the shadows of the band. That's kind of what this reminded me of in a lot of scenes. But like I said, overall, not a winner here, Mike.
No, not a winner either, but I definitely would give it 1 star because
Well,
Alice helped add to the film.
Where are we going to find this movie? I mean, where did we find this movie?
I found this movie at deepdiscountdvd.com.
Oh, well, hey, I mean, that's a great place.
They probably found it at a garage sale in Hayward.
Probably. Yeah, I've never seen it in any stores or anything like that, but if
No.
you're lucky enough, or some would say unlucky enough, to get a chance to check it out, I would say probably a 2-star movie.
If you want to find this, you've got to really hunt it down. So, yeah, I think 1 star for Alice and 1 star for the atmosphere. So I'd give it 2.
There you go.
You got it.
I agree.
All right. It's definitely not the best film in the world, but you got to be an Alice fan, I think, to like
Yep.
it.
Any Alice fan, if you're going for the completion of your collection, man, you got to track this thing down.
Yeah, American Werewolf in London, this is not. But you know what? Also, another thing, it really did have the worst transformation scene I'd ever seen. That was laughingly bad.
But
Yeah.
otherwise, forget it.
All right. I'm Michael Mandy. He's Rowdy Jeff, and we'll talk to you next time out the horror debate.